Assalamualaikum, good afternoon, and welcome back to the final session of the first Ocean Pollution and Ecotoxicology Symposium 2022. I'm Dr. Izwani Idris and will be your chairperson for our final invited speaker in this program. So for this final session, we are fortunate to have Professor Dr. Wan Izatul Asma Wan Talaat as our invited speaker. A brief background about Prof. Wan Izatul. Prof. Wan Izatul is a law professor focusing on environmental governance at the Center of Ocean Governance, Institute of Oceanography and Environment, UMT. Prof. Wan Izatul has been appointed, among others, as a visiting fellow at the Royal Malaysian Navy Sea Power Centre, IUCN World Commission on Environmental Law, and one of the Malaysian representatives to coordinating body on the seas of East Asia, or COPSEA. One of her recent projects is the drafting, adoption, and implementation of the Terengganu Marine Special Planning in collaboration with the Terengganu State Government, Xiamen University China, Plan Malaysia, and WWF Malaysia. Before I hand over the platform to Professor Wan Izatul, I would like to state the format of this session. Prof. Wan will deliver her presentation for about 20 minutes. And then we will open, if time permits, we will open for Q&A session for about 5 to 6 minutes. Audiences can post your questions using the chat box function in Webex throughout the presentation. Or you can raise your hand again in the Webex and ask the question verbally after unmuting your microphone during the Q&A slot. So without further ado, I would like to call upon or invite Professor Wan Izatul Asma Wan Talaat to deliver her talk with title How Marine Special Planning Facilitates in Pollution Control. Over to you, Prof.
Thank you, Dr. Izwandi. So let me share my slide. Oh, sorry. Okay. I hope everyone can see my slide. Yep. So as mentioned by a very good afternoon and assalamualaikum to everyone. Ramadan Kareem. And I hope everyone is alert. I know that it's 2:30 and it's about having a law lecture. It's going to be quite boring for you, but I hope you can bear with me. Okay, I'm going to speak on how marine spatial planning facilitates in pollution control in line with the Opecs Symposium. And I think this is a very popular photo taken by Justin Hoffman. So this speaks 1,000 words that our sea is highly polluted. And if you can go back many years ago to the movie of Finding Nemo, so it is said that Finding Nemo, that all drains lead to the ocean. All drains lead to the ocean when Nemo was trying to find his father. So if you can see that, even the movie was telling that everything that you put into the drain will go into the ocean. If you want to go to the ocean, you can go through the drain. So the same thing is happening all over the world, all over the globe, where we can see pollution everywhere. These are the ones that are visible to the eyes, but there are also those that are not visible to the eyes. And there are many types of marine pollution. For example, we have marine debris. And while marine debris can be obvious, it is often the pollutants that cannot be seen that cause more harms. And then we also have plastic pollution, and we know that plastic pollution will lead into microplastic pollution. And then the microplastic pollution, in the end, if you can see the cycle here, it will go into our food. And we also have ocean acidification and neutral pollution. I think you have gone through this before. And then we also have toxins, where the bioaccumulation in the sea will, in the end, again, like the food, like the microplastic will go back to us. And then we also have another type of pollution that we often overlook, that is underwater noise. So our marine life can be susceptible to noise or the sound pollution from sources such as passing ships, oil mineral exploration, seismic surveys, as well as naval low frequency active sonar. And then we also have deep seabed mining, which are also giving a lot of pressure to the marine life, underwater marine life. And then, and pollution is often classed as point source pollution that occurs when there is single identifiable localized source of the pollution, as well as non-point source pollution. And now I'm going to a little bit into marine spatial planning. We know that marine environment is much more dynamic than terrestrial system, with a three-dimensional opaque and fluid system containing of physical, geological, biological, and chemical characteristics that fluctuate temporally and spatially. That describes how complicated the marine environment. And the sea, both its space and resources, are pertinent for nation growth. We know it, everyone knows it, how important the sea is. And of course, because of that, there are numerous economic activities that depend on, and the preamble to UNCLOS, because MSP is part of ocean governance, where the preamble to UNCLOS, this is the constitution of the sea, dubbed as the constitution of the sea, that the problems of ocean space are closely interrelated and need to be considered as a whole. So this is the reason why we need to plan forward and ahead on what is going on in our seas, as well as our coastal areas. And a coastal state, as provided under UNCLOS, has sovereign rights in its ISAC to explore and exploit natural resources, but these rights should also be interpreted in conjunction with the responsibilities for the protection and rational management of these resources. And a coastal state like Malaysia has to act as resource manager in its EEZ. And then again, still under UNCLOS, there are three general norms of UNCLOS. Firstly, it regulates the use of the marine environment and rich resources in accordance with the norms defining the legal status of different marine spaces, oversees the fulfillment of the rights and obligations of states in marine areas, as well as providing the basis for creating an ocean governance framework. So this is the general norms of UNCLOS, and then UNCLOS also provide on the maritime zones under UNCLOS. You can see that we have here the baseline, and then in Malaysia we have a special allocation for the state waters because we are a federated nation. We have 3 nautical miles of state waters, and then we have the territorial sea and up to 12 nautical miles, and then we have for enforcement for another 12 nautical miles. And then under the water column, we have the exclusive economic zone. And then, of course, after that is the high seas. But the continental shelves will end here, but subject to the limit of the territorial EEZ. And then these are the laws that are applicable in Malaysia. Of course, we have UNCLOS, which is international law. And these are the laws in Malaysia that defines the maritime zones. Oh, I'm so sorry, Sangin. Okay. Okay, I'm having trouble with this. So I have to stop sharing because this one, okay, I have to go back again. Okay. So this is an infographic provided by, done by Dr. Khaira Ismail, which I love to use because this is what we call as the Anthropocene Ocean. And she did it during the World Ocean Week last year. And then this is describes of what is happening in our seas, how congested is our seas, how we are depending a lot on our seas. And then this Anthropocene oceans shows that most of our economic revenue derives from the sea. And then coming back to marine spatial planning, under the UN Ocean Decade, marine spatial planning stands as one of the key ocean management domains. And it is very important to go for marine spatial planning in order for us to achieve SDG 14. And then what is marine spatial planning is defined in many ways, but this is the definition by IOC UNESCO. It's basically a public process for a society to better determine how the ocean and the coast are sustainably used and protected for now and for the future generations. And MSP employs a practical way to create and establish a more rational use of marine space and the interaction among its users through balancing demands for development with the need to protect the environment, to deliver social and economic outcome, and in an open and planned way. So there are 3 steps here: balancing the demands for development with the need to protect the environment in order to deliver both the social and economic outcomes, and it must be done in an open and planned way, meaning that it must be consultative. And marine spatial planning is about bringing together, the process is about bringing together multiple users of the ocean. There are many users, and then to make informed and coordinated decisions about how to sustainably use marine resources and space in order to achieve a balance between environmental protection and social and economic outcomes delivery. So I have like 40 plus slides, so I have to really rush. And marine spatial planning, there is, in order for us to do something, we have to have a legislative basis. And under UNCLOS, there is a legislative basis for MSP where internal waters, territorial sea, we are free to do it, as well as in our EEZ. But for territorial sea and EEZ, we must take into consideration of the innocent passage of ship. And then for EEZ, we can carry out MSP as long as it only matters of the functional rights are regulated and rights and freedoms of other states are given due regard. And then this is more in respect of the safe navigation of foreign vessels. And we have the right to develop marine spatial planning is provided under the international law. And then as for the legislative basis for MSP, we have this Town and Country Planning Act, or we call Act 172, where we have, under this law, we have the national physical plans, the regional plans, the state structure plans, the local plans, and the special area plans. If we were to go for MSP, then we have to go for adopting for special area plan like we have for Situ wetland, where whenever we want to do something in order to provide for a management framework, a management plan, then we have to go for special area plan. And the same thing is we want to do for one particular area of MSP, we have to go for special area plan. We can do it under section 16B, subsection 1, 2, and 3. And then, as just now I mentioned about the National Physical Plan, it also comprises of the National Coastal Zones Physical Plan, which is going to be launched. The second one will be launched in June, and MSP is incorporated under the National Coastal Zone Physical Plan. Okay, so this is the step that we have to follow in order for us to carry out MSP. First, we have to establish the authority, obtain financial support. We need financial support to do this. We need to organize the MSP process. We need to engage the stakeholders. We have to analyze existing conditions. We have to collect all the baseline data, and then we have to analyze future conditions. We have to predict, and we have to use the planning document. And then we have to develop the plan, implement the plan, and monitoring and evaluation is very important, where we have to evaluate the performance and then we adapt the process. So MSP is a long process, but it is a very coordinated one. And MSP, so this is what we do about MSP. It's about it's a process of mapping physical and ecological information. It involves the collation and application of existing data to relevant management issues, and it also enables information gaps to be identified and future research to be prioritized. So MSP is about identifying gaps. It's about determining what is important and what is less important, and it is about zoning on the right place where to put a certain activity to be done. And then it is about determining the competing users. It's about finding compatible users. So basically, MSP is a coordinated way of making spatial planning. And basically, MSP has six characteristics, which is ecosystem-based. We know that everywhere around the world, we are promoting ecosystem-based management approach, and that it is also area-based, so meaning that it must be localized, and then it is integrated, taking into consideration all the environmental as well as social parameters, and it is adaptive, meaning that it can always be changed according to the situation. It must be strategic, and the most important thing about MSP, it must be participatory. So meaning that it has to involve all the stakeholders, especially the main stakeholders. And we're talking about the area-based, it must be the local authority and the local communities. They are the most important people that are having interest in a particular area. And these are the benefits of MSP. It's an integrated management, so meaning that it has economic and environmental benefit. I don't think I have enough time to read this. And basically, it's about providing greater access and certainty for new investment, identifies areas of compatible users for development, reduces conflicts among compatible users and between users and nature, and promotes efficient use of resources and space. So when we do zoning, we make sure that there are efficient use on resources and space, and we are not, we will try to avoid overlapping spaces. And then as for environmental benefits, it identifies areas of biological or ecological importance, and this is very important because will help us with conservation works, and reduces cumulative impact of marine environment, and this goes back to the pollution just now, and it ensures space for biodiversity and nature conservation. It enables biodiversity objectives to be at the heart of MSP management, and it provides context for network of MPAs. So this is why MSP should not be done. Of course, it is localized, but it must also be extended to other areas so that we can identify a network of MPAs in a particular sea area. And then MSP is actually has been mentioned in the draft National Ocean Policy 2011, where it identifies the need to carry out MSP as a key action area towards developing bioregional plans and identifying ESSA. And then even though the draft National Ocean Policy has never come out from the pipeline, but then as a member of the CTI country, Malaysia is adopting MSP according to Goal 3 to fulfill regional and national goals in establishing effective management regimes. And now we are coming to the localized area where we have in Terengganu, we have our MSP initiative, which was started in 2016. And this is the first MSP in Peninsular Malaysia. And then we have multiple partners. We have worked with Plan Malaysia, state governments, Kuala Terengganu City Council, and we work with our strategic partner, which are assisting us in terms of funding as well as technological assistance. And they are the University of Xiamen in China, because Xiamen has experienced the success of MSP after 30 years. And then, of course, we have the one that initiated MSP in Sabah, and now they are working with us for Terengganu WWF, and we were trained. We were initially trained by NOAA, and then we had two workshops, two trainings program with NOAA, and you can see from the pictures here. And then this is the work process that we had. And then it's a long process, but now, starting from 1st December 2021, the project has commenced. And we are happy because this is the first MSP to take place. And MSP, when we do MSP, when we implement MSP in a particular area, in Terengganu MSP, it is about weighing between the benefits and impacts, between the impacts of economic impact, social impact, environmental, as well as other impacts. And then you can see that when we do MSP, it is always about conflicting and competing users. And even though we started off trying to look into Terengganu, but when we were asked to join the board with our Xiamen partner, we were told that we were advised that it is better to start with a pilot area, and of course, we chose Kuala Terengganu and Kuala Nerus as our pilot area for Malaysia Marine Spatial Planning. And this is a joint project funded by China Oceanic Development Foundation, and it is also a program under UN Ocean Decade, under IOC UNESCO, and then MSP and pollution control. Now, coming to the issue at hand, MSP helps addresses pollution through its area-based and participatory characteristics. So this is how we try to address pollution control. And this area-based and participatory management approach of MSP would allow strong engagement and commitment, most particularly from the local authority and the local community. Those that are taking care of managing and taking care of the area, and those that are living in and of the area. So these are the people that really benefits from the MSP, and these are the people that really going to help in implementing MSP. And as this is Kuala Terengganu and Kuala Nerus MSP. As you can see that in the coastal area, we have all kind of problems, all kind of threats. We have coastal development, unsustainable exploitation of resources, monsoon season, unsustainable waste management, and we have leading to all these problems, coastal erosion, river mouth siltation, uncontrolled sands mining activities, loss of coastal forests, overexploitation of marine resources, so on and so forth. And then on the islands, because Kuala Terengganu and Kuala Nerus also comprises several islands, including Redang, which is the marine park, Redang and Lam Tengah. And then these are also the threats that are causing degradation of sensitive ecosystem, sedimentation, eutrophication, so on and so forth. And our pilot project covers not just the coastal area, but also the islands. It comprises of 2 districts, but it is under one municipality, that is Kuala Terengganu City Council. And then Kuala Terengganu and Kuala Nerus was selected because it is the most populated districts in Terengganu, and it is under one municipality, meaning that we only have one partner to deal with. And then it is also the commercial and political center, and it is a tourism destinations because of the cultural heritage, and as well as because of the natural heritage. And then we also have surroundings ESAs. And EMSP, we have to identify all these compatible users. You can see that even though Kuala Terengganu, if you come to Kuala Terengganu, if you are not familiar with Kuala Terengganu, you will say that Kuala Terengganu is a laid-back city where there is nothing happening. But actually, there are so many things happening. They are causing degradation to our marine environment. So this is the reason why we need MSP. And the surroundings of, when we do MSP, we also have to take into consideration our surroundings. On the wetland, we have our city wetland and Terengganu Marine Parks. And then, of course, we have 13 marine parks in Terengganu. And then on the southern coastal stretch, we have oil and gas, manufacturing, oil palm plantation, tourism, turtle sanctuaries, as well as Jammu Bongkok Breeze ecosystem, which is also an important ecosystem, coastal ecosystem that we have to protect. And then to do this, we conduct many ways of getting the participatory management approach. We have to involve our major stakeholder. That is the Majlis Bandaraya Kuala Terengganu or the Kuala Terengganu City Council. So this is where we work with our major partner, our main partner, and then of course with the blessing of the state, we started off having our first first work into MSP is we started off with issues and solutions in solid waste management. And pursuant to that, we have several projects going on, and then led by Dr. Maiza and Dr. Afiq. And then we have Ocean Hope coming in to help us. And then this is how we do MSP. Because MSP, addressing pollution, is the first thing to do when we do MSP. Because one of the objectives is always about pollution control. And then another project that we are going to work on is on the capacity building of local communities and service providers in responsible waste management and community-led tourism. So this is a project by UNDP going through SUK and MBKT to UMT. So this is where we are going to teach, to train our local communities and service providers in responsible waste management, where prior to that, we are going to have a coral health assessment. And then, of course, after that, we also have to do the post assessment, post-event assessment. So this is the first action research that we are going to conduct, and is going to conduct soon after Raya, soon after Aidilfitri. So basically, as a parting words, I hope that I managed to do it in 20 minutes, Dr. Izwandi. MSP employs a practical way to create a more rational use of marine space and interaction among its users. If you're talking about MSP, it is not about conservation per se. It is also about balancing demands for development. So when we say that we want to go for MSP, doesn't mean that we are going to deny development. No, it is going about balancing demands for development with the need to protect the environment, as well as to deliver social and economic outcomes in an open and planned way. And MSP helps in addressing pollution through its area-based and participatory characteristics. This is the most important features because it is about engagement. And then it has to be localized. And then this is the reason why we chose Kuala Terengganu and Kuala Nerus under one municipality, and we have worked with them, with the local council, with the local authority, as well as with the people. And so we need them to make MSP works and to make addressing pollution as well as other environmental objectives are fulfilled. So the next step that we are going into is there are many projects actually, but the next step that we're thinking of is about addressing or mitigating coastal erosion. So this is where we need the participatory management, where the people, as well as the local authority and the state local authority and the federal government, to work together to make things happening in Kuala Terengganu and Kuala Nerus. It is about transforming Kuala Terengganu and Kuala Nerus to be rehabilitated into a better place. And then area-based and participatory management approach of MSP would allow this, because it will allow strong engagement and commitment, most particularly from the local authority and the local community. I would say that these are the most important thing. These are the most important stakeholders that we have to take in, and then because they are the one that are going to live in the area, they are the one that manage the area, they are the one that are going to make things happen. And then I think with that, I would like to thank you. So did I manage to do it within 20 minutes, Dr. Izwandi?
Okay, thank you very much, Prof. Wan Izatul. Unfortunately, I think because we have so many information that you would like to share with us, we are basically running out of time. But nevertheless, I think that those questions that have been lingering in the mind of our audiences, they can always approach you by looking at your contact detail from INOS website. So I urge participants who would like to get more information or more explanation on the points discussed by Prof. Wan Izatul, you can go to INOS website at inos.umt.edu.my and then look the contact details of Professor Wan Izatul. And I think she will be very happy to entertain or to clarify some of the issues that have been lingering in your mind with regard to marine spatial planning. All right, I think we have arrived to the end of this segment. It's already 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Thank you very much again, Prof. Wan Izatul, Asma, Wan Talaat, for your impactful content. So let's move on to the last session of the symposium, For that, I would like to invite Dr. Izian to chair the session. The session is yours, Dr. Izian. Thank you very much.